Hey everybody, how you doing out there? It's the Monday Minutia with your Uncle Steve here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate you joining us today. Today is one of those days, folks. Arguably the greatest Atlanta Falcon in franchise history. That's right, I said it. Matt Ryan retires today after 15 years in the NFL, 14 as an Atlanta Falcon. Says goodbye. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, how you doing out there in Uncle Steve's Lounge? Appreciate everyone joining us tonight. I did not plan on popping in for the Monday Minutia this week. However, we got the news earlier this morning that it was official. Number two, Matt Ryan is calling it quits. He signed a one-day contract with the Atlanta Falcons today so he could retire as a Falcon. And uh, look, I don't know how else to put it to a lot of folks. Say what you want to say, but until probably someone comes along and either wins the championship or has a sustained success at this moment, Matt Ryan is the greatest player to ever put on a Falcons uniform for this team. And I mean that. And I didn't say ability. I didn't say Pro Bowl ability. I didn't say Hall of Fame esque. I didn't say any of that. But the greatest Atlanta Falcon, Matt Ryan. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to go into that in a couple of minutes. First, as you're coming in, I appreciate everyone joining us today. Hit the like button for me as you come in. If you're watching on Facebook, I appreciate you jumping in, saying hello as well, and talking about the franchise, Matt Ryan. And it was really weird because when you got the news earlier today, um, I think it didn't hit me until you started seeing the highlights and everything. You start looking at what Matt Ryan walked into. For those of you who were really entrenched before Matt Ryan arrived, Matt Ryan didn't come with the greatest fanfare. A lot of folks wanted Glenn Dorsey. A lot of folks wanted someone else. Some people wanted Joe Flacco. But Matt Ryan came in, and if you really think about him as a person, pretty much represented the Atlanta Falcons franchise in its history. When you think about it, what is Atlanta known as? A pretty good little team. Every now and then they'll win, peek their head up, make a nice little run, hit the playoffs. solid enough to be called a solid franchise, but never quite getting all the way there. I think today is a day that I'm not going. I don't want to dwell on anything negative with Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan gave a lot out there on the field. Did he succeed every time? Absolutely not. He's the first person that'll tell you. Nobody's trying to make him Tom Brady. Nobody's trying to put him in the Hall of Fame. That's not what I'm talking about. But as far as for the Atlanta Falcons in this franchise, especially what he walked into in the 2008 year after the drama we went through the season before. I mean, Matt Ryan took us on a ride that we had not had ever. I understand the 1998 season with the Super Bowl. I get that. But we were 1 year in and 4 years out. And prior to that, we were 2 years out. Matt Ryan at least showed us, if not for a small amount of time, that if we had a decent enough quarterback, that we could make some waves. Those first 5 years, man, Falcons fans, we didn't know. And I almost blame Matt to a certain extent because Matt showed us what it felt like to be, for your goal to be the Super Bowl. At first, as the Atlanta Falcons franchise, your goal was, oh, let's make the playoffs. Yay, we did something. Matt came in here and won from the jump. And no, he didn't light the world on fire at the beginning. But once he got it rolling, he became one of the most consistent quarterbacks. Most talented? No. All pro? No. But somebody that you could depend on. Do I make apologies about not wanting him here the last 2 years? Absolutely not. Because as Matt probably found out himself, he was probably near the end. But boy, he took us on a nice ride. And I don't know. I know it was our first time going to the Super Bowl in '98. And as Falcons fans, you say, hey, we're here. Let's do it. Did y'all really think we had a big chance against Denver that year? I mean, I was a Falcon fan and I really wanted it. But we weren't even in that game. 2016, no matter how it ended, Matt Ryan led a team that made you think we're going to get there. And so with that, I think today should be a day that we spend the next hour or so talking about what brother Matt did for this franchise. Don't mistake anything, y'all. I'm not sitting here trying to go back. He should have left in 2021. I really still feel that way. There's no mistaking that. But I am here to tell you, we have not had a Falcons player that stood more for the Falcons than Matt Ryan. I didn't say he was talented. I know that's coming. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do something that I normally don't do. And I'm going to put the link in here. So if anybody wants to talk a little bit, we'll try to keep the comments a little bit shorter, but we'll throw the link in if anybody wants to share any Matt Ryan thoughts. Go ahead and feel free as I read some of the comments that we have in here talking about Matt Ryan, his career, some of your favorite moments, what Matt meant to you, what he is and how he epitomized professionalism. And I don't want people to lose track. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this. But y'all remember when the George Floyd stuff came out? Matt put his money where his mouth was. Stuff like that I remember. When he didn't have to. He could have dodged cameras He was in the A, and he knew what the A meant. And so when I think about stuff like that, I think about him as a just a great ambassador for the city. I got somebody in here coming in. That's my brother Ray in the house. What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
What's up, bro? Let me know if there's any feedback. I'm in the car. I had to pull over for this one.
No, brother, you good, man. The floor is yours, man. I like I said, I know folks want to wax poetic about that, man. Shoot away, brother.
So for me, man, I just put it in the comments. I remember when Matt Ryan was drafted, man. Like, I remember how bad, like, as a fan, I felt after the whole Vic debacle, and how we had hopes, like, oh man, we're gonna be this great franchise, and then Vic thing happened, and we went in the toilet yet again, you know. And then here, I mean, say what you want to say, Matt Ryan in a dark time for the Atlanta Falcons was a ray of sunshine. And for years to come after that, whatever you want to call him, he is by far the greatest Falcon that has ever put on the jersey, period. So you have to give that man his flowers today. Go tomorrow, go back to hate Matt Ryan. But for today, if you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, people, you have to give that man his flowers today. I mean, you just have to.
And I think you and I were kind of on the same page. I mean, in 21 and 20, Matt wasn't what Matt was 4 or 5 years prior. He wasn't.
No.
And it was never personal because
No.
I wanted the professional Matt, but Matt wasn't slinging it like he was in the the early 2010s and post Super Bowl. So it wasn't getting the person Matt out. Matt wasn't the quarterback that he was. I don't know how you feel about that.
I still to this day dislike how that transpired. Like I don't dislike him being traded. I just dislike how it happened. Here you have the guy who literally took us out of the muck, of despair after Vic. He gave you great years. I understand that the NFL is a business. I get that 100%, but I just felt like before we went hard at Deshaun Watson, we should have, or whoever it was, whatever the situation was, we should have, I think Matt deserved possibly going to him like, hey, man, we're going to do this. Do you want to be a backup? Do you want to, get traded? Give him his opportunity or where he wanted to go, something. Again, I understand it's a business, but I think certain people deserve more respect from a franchise than the average player, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And to piggyback off your thought, the way he left, and I don't know if you saw the press conference today. If you saw the press conference today, you would have had no clue how messy things were. Think
right, he's a professional.
Dude, professional with a capital P. To come out there and know that this franchise kind of basically turned their back on you. And for you to be able to come back 2 years later and to stand up and thank the man. And now don't get me wrong, them $300 million you earned over the last couple of years, that you can overlook some things. But for him to come back and to stand up there and be the guy that he is, man, I think I give him a lot of credit, man. One of my other day ones over here, my brother Dave in the house. What's going on, David? How you feeling, brother?
What's going on, Steve?
Brother, I want to hear your thoughts as well. So please, the floor is yours.
Quick story here, Steve. When that Michael Vick mess went down, I'm sitting up here and I'm living in Charlotte, North Carolina. They know Panthers fan that can talk trash with the best of them. And I'm sitting up here and I'm going to them games up there in Charlotte, man. And I'm with my big jersey on and my head is hanging low. Okay.
It was a dark time. It was a dark time.
dark time. And Matt came, and when Matt came in 2008, and he went 11-5.
Yeah.
And he went up, and it was either the next to last, the last game of the season. He beat them Panthers. He gave me such a relief.
Yeah.
He gave me and that's the point when that point right then and there, because I was on the Glenn Dorsey train too.
Yeah.
I was on the Glenn Dorsey train too, and at that point is when I became a staunch supporter of Matt Ryan.
It was hard not to. Do y'all know we were this close to having Chris Redman as our quarterback for the rest of the season? Y'all realize we were we were that close to doing that. I want to hit both of y'all up with something else before I dodge in and dodge out a couple more folks in here. Give me your favorite, just off the top. I know there are a few for both of y'all. Y'all give me your favorite moment that you can just think of right now, your favorite Matt Ryan moment, obviously as a Falcon. I'm gonna start with you, David.
Oh man,
Right.
Mine. Yeah. Surprisingly, it was his rookie season when he beat Chicago, because we were not supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who he hit down the rail.
Michael Jenkins.
To the field goal range.
Michael Jenkins.
Get to the field goal range, and to kick that field goal. That's when you talk about something. That's when I was jumping up and down. That's actually my favorite Matt Ryan moment.
That was, and again, remember, rookie. Remember, rookie season. Rookie season. Dre, talk to me. Where do you lie one of your favorite matches?
Oh man, what without a shadow of a doubt, this always gives me goosebumps, and I watch it over and over and over and over when I want to see great Falcons football, man. And that is the NFC Championship, when that man ran 2 miles an hour to the house, dove in, got up, spiked the ball, talked his trash. I was like, yeah, bro. I lost it. I was in a bar. I lost my mind to see Matt Ryan not only run like a turtle, but to dive in the end zone, get up, spike the ball, talk his trash in the NFC. Oh, my God, bro. That by far, I mean, just talking about it giving me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Every time.
I don't know where your sports bar was, but I obviously I was, being a season ticket holder, I was there, and I argue with anybody who wants to tell me by far the most earthquake moment in Georgia Dome history as a Falcon, to see him run in there. I think if you looked at Matt when he dove or slowly slid into the end zone, I think he just exercised his demons, man. I think all of the I can't win the big one, I can't take you to the Super Bowl, I can't do that. I felt like the spike you talked about, Dre. I think that's what that was. And to see him as animated as he was, I think that was like, there you go, critics. I'm about to go to the Super Bowl today.
Yeah. I was in DC. I was in DC at a sports bar, and I wasn't there, but I'm telling you, I could feel the energy. I could hear the energy shooting out of the TV. I felt like all Falcon fans. I felt like we were the Avengers right there, uniting. Like it just, I felt it through the TV, man. That moment right there is by far my greatest moment as a Falcon fan. I mean, just. Everything about that was just I can only imagine personally being there, the feeling that was radiating through that stadium, bro. Oh my God.
When he ran that way, I said the Packers are dead. Right then, I said the Packers are dead.
It was very close. They left. The majority of them left at that first touchdown after Julio, but
Yeah.
The loud Packer fans were quiet as a mouse after that Matt Ryan run. And I know I'm gonna hear that a lot more with other folks. But fellas, I got some other folks on tap, man. I appreciate
Yes,
y'all.
sir.
Thank you for joining me. And
Yes,
we'll
Later
sir.
catch
on,
y'all down the
later
line.
on,
Thank you
Steve.
so much. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. I'm gonna read a couple of statements. I got a couple of folks here in the chat getting ready to come in, but let me get to a couple of guys in here. Eric Parter says, "Good evening, my brother Matt is a very respectable person. I'm truly happy for him." Brian Davis is in here. Class act, a major reason for 5 consecutive winning seasons. Dexter says, not only did Matt carry his team, but he had a defense that ranked 20 or worse for at least 10 years. Uh, I didn't being want Matt when when drafted, but I'm proud to say I'm a Ryanite, best Falcon ever. Martavius is here. What's up, Unc? Almost cried when they announced his retirement. Lisa said even though Matt was calm and collected at the press conference, you could tell he was trying to contain his emotions. He was about to break down a couple of times. Nothing but respect for him. I'm gonna put the uh, thing in here again so some of y'all can and get in and forgive me. I know a lot of times I read a lot of the chats in here, but I want to talk to the folks today. Got 2 more brothers in here. My brother Travis is in the house. I see him. My brother John, who I really want to hear from today as far as his thoughts on Matt Ryan. I'm going to start with you, my brother Travis. What's going on, brother?
Man, how you doing,
Uh-oh.
man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, my friend. How's it going today? And talk to me, man. Tell me about Matt Ryan, man. What Matt meant to you, my friend?
Man, you know what? I'm not the biggest Matt Ryan fan, but you got to respect the body of work. And for him coming in after the whole, we already knew whoever came in after Vic was probably going to be automatically hated, not because of who he was, but because of who he was replacing. And Matt came in with grace and dignity. He came in. I mean, let's just be honest, man. We didn't have back-to-back winning seasons until the man got here. I know that ain't the biggest accomplishment, but I mean, let's just be fair. We were 40 years in and hadn't even had that. So I
Mm,
mean, for him to give us that, and then the MVP, All Pro, Super Bowl. I know Super Bowl wasn't how we wanted, but dang, man, 2016 was a ride, man. That was a show. And like Coach and David was just pointing out, man, that I'll never forget that NFC Championship game, man. Watching that pass
mhm.
to Julio and Julio breaking those tackles, man, and finger rolling the ball into the end zone. Man, the pass to Roddy against Carolina that set up that game winning field goal. Man, I gotta give the man credit, man. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I gotta respect what the man did.
I like the fact that you like a lot of other people, uh, weren't exactly, enthralled by Matt. I understand that we had just come off an electric era of it, the exciting Mike Vick. I understand why. I get it. No one's trying to take that away from us from what he brought. But when you have somebody that comes to the franchise and they're pretty much the face of winning, it's hard to not, if you're a Falcon fan. If you're not a Falcon fan, I get it. But if you're a Falcon fan, you said it earlier, we weren't used to that. 40 years, we get one winning season, 3 losing, one winning, four losing, and we go like that. John, I gotta ask you, man, because I know you're gonna be honest with me about it, because you have forever been a very vocal Matt Ryan critic, and I'll say a lot of times very deserving critic. Tell me how you feel today. Not so much, falling in line with everybody with tributes and talking about that, but just tell me now that he's called it quits as a Falcon fan. Tell me what Matt meant as far as you were concerned.
Um, the career is over. it's officially over. When he left here is when, I stopped really criticizing or watching or seeing things. And, it was a situation where he's no longer an Atlanta Falcon. He was an Indianapolis Colt. We both did track and look at his career to see, what was going to happen, because everybody was interested to see whether he could go somewhere else and have similar success someplace else. But we found that it was not to be as it was here. I have to give Matt Ryan his credit as being the best Falcon quarterback that we've ever.
Hold on 1 second. Is this hurting you, isn't it? Because you give it.
Yeah, well, no,
I don't think I ever. Hold on. Let me make sure everybody in the chat realizes. And Coach is calling it right on the spot. Because again, if you know one thing you go get from John, you go get the truth. So this is actually very liberating to hear him kind of give flowers when flowers are due to a certain extent. Because you're a Falcon fan. That's the thing everybody doesn't understand. And me and you have talked about this several times. You're a Falcon fan. So hearing you very selectively kind of express this, it's really kind of cool to me. And I didn't mean to stop your train of thought, but I just thought it's really fascinating. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You said it was liberating. Who's being let out of jail? I'm not. But this is the thing. This is the thing. Steve, you and I met, and we met discussing Matt Ryan.
Yes.
And the Atlanta Falcons. That's how we met. That's how we kindled the friendship. That's how we knew after many discussions that we could talk about the Falcons objectively without being overly insulting, without being overly dogmatic,
right.
without offending each other, things of that sort. Now, the thing about it, and I've always said it, I have always wanted Matt Ryan to be the best Matt Ryan that he could be. You, Coach, and David were just talking about how Matt Ryan ran into the end zone and spiked the ball.
Yes.
Remember when he wouldn't do that?
Oh yeah.
And many times,
and you called him out. You called him out as you should have.
And the thing is that there were things that I felt that he could have been better at. And I felt that in 2015, when Kyle Shanahan came here, that was one of the best things that could have happened for Matt Ryan's career.
Actually, it was.
Because he took over my job. Because it's been long chronicled about my visits to Flowery Branch, watching them practice and having to try to coach a quarterback from the hill.
Right.
Because of the fact that there were things that he needed to improve upon. And like I said, I have to give him credit for being the best Falcons quarterback that we've ever had. And, and it's not a begrudging credit. It's a fact. He was the best quarterback that's ever come, either Flowery Branch or Suwannee.
Oh yeah.
Georgia Dome, New Dome. You know,
he was definitely want to stay right here for a second, John. We're gonna read a couple of comments on here. Antonio says, "Good evening, not gonna lie, I wanted them to draft Darren McFadden. I was upset with the pick, but Ice won me over on his first official pass, a 62-yard strike to Michael Jenkins." Thomas T-Bone says, "Rise up." Miss Pamela says, "To be honest, the Colt defense didn't help his cause in his last season with the Colts. They didn't, Pamela, but I'm gonna say this. If we're honest with each other, I think Matt was probably not his best in the 2021 season. I know he was working with scraps, don't get me wrong. We were working with basically a lot of B teamers. Julio had just left. Calvin Ridley was acting funky and stuff like that. But at the same time, yeah, you're probably right. In Indy, all you kept hearing in Indy was they got the offensive line. They're going to give him the blocking he ever needs. And I just really think he was pretty much done by the end, in my opinion. Dexter says, "I'm going to say this. Matt was tough too. He used to get tattooed and get right back up and throw a touchdown. He had some pretty bad O-lines, and including in 2001, and would pop back up. If I'm not mistaken, I think the number is 3 games in 14 years here, right? Or 13 years here, whatever that is. I think he only missed 3 games as an Atlanta Falcon. So I give him a lot of credit for that too." Zayna Bag is in the house. What's going on? Says, "Matt Ryan, my favorite player of all time. I remember in middle school down here in Baltimore, arguing with my homies every day, telling them why Matt Ryan was better than Joe Flacco. Time really flies." You know, it's really interesting because I don't know what you think, Jay. I still feel like I know Joe Flacco won the big one. I know Joe Flacco made a nice little run with Cleveland last year, but I don't even think it's close. Joe Flacco isn't in Matt Ryan's league. I think he was just the beneficiary of some legendary defense in Baltimore. What you think about that?
Well, they both of their careers tracked kind of similar to a certain extent. But you know, I always begrudgingly have to give the person with the ring the ups. Now Matt Ryan, like I said, in that 2016 season, winning the most valuable player for that season, after Shanahan unlocked him and the offense, you know, I would have to say that Matt Ryan was better than Joe Flacco in that 2016 year, definitely. You know, there's no question about it. Right. You know, like I said, I was listening. I haven't even listened to the radio as far as that's concerned. As far as him retiring or whatever, I listened to the press conference, and he was as eloquent as he always is when he's speaking in front of the public, and he was very emotional about it, because when you reach milestones like this, when you are finished with a career of something that you've done for a long time, it is a humbling, exciting, you know, it's just a whole bunch of mixed emotions when you realize that you will no longer be doing this anymore. Okay. Right. You know, it was kind of the same thing when I retired. You know, I was, you know, just mixed about it, because I really, you know, and just like him, I really made some very, very good friends during the 45 years that I had worked. And, you know, 15 years in the NFL, trying to dodge getting your head beat in, you know, your offensive line, your defense, your coaches, the things that, you know, were normal for you during that time, the normal grind, you're no longer going to be doing this anymore. So,
right. Dre says, "John, sir, just say good job, Matt. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. Just say it one time."
That poor coach. You know, I don't know. I really don't know why people
Coach,
want me to do that.
Coach, he fighting demons right now, man. He's fighting. He can't
Well,
do it.
and I already have posted in the Bird Gang group my thanks to Matt Ryan for serving.
Right. That's as far as it's gonna get it. No, man. Zay in the bag says, give Matt Ryan, Ed Reed, and Ray Lewis. We would have had 3 chips. I say that all the time down here. I hear you. David says, and for those who are overly critical of Matt, not saying he didn't deserve some, but not the amount he got. Hit it for me, Steve. Yeah, that's true. I love that. He made you appreciate, and again, giving us our, he's gone, but the horrific quarterback play of 22 and 23, and I'm sorry, folks, it was, made you appreciate prime Matt more. I still I don't want anybody to misconstrue this. I still say in 21, Matt might have overstayed his welcome here by that year, in my opinion. But prime Matt, we appreciated prime Matt more these last 2 seasons, because even as we try to get some facsimile of him in Kirk Cousins and having to overpay him, it just makes you appreciate having somebody that was, yeah, did he make mistakes? Absolutely. Did he make you scratch your head? Did he make you yell at the TV? Did he make you throw stuff at him? Absolutely. But it did make you appreciate him. Here's a good question right here. I want you to answer, John. And I know I'll probably answer it after you do. He said, why do people give Shanahan credit for how good Matt became? I think Matt helped made Shanahan. Before Matt, he wasn't mentioned as one of the great OCs. Then became Matt, and the rest is history. Now, I'm just gonna give my little short part, because I think you can answer it better. You always talk about it. I think it was the wake-up call. I think Matt Ryan was comfortable. I think Malarkey and Cutter had kind of babied him. I feel like Shanahan was going to do Shanahan, and Matt had to get on board. And remember, that 15 season was full of dissent. Both of those guys did not, I don't think they were going out to lunch together. But let me let you just answer that, John. Go ahead, because I know every time we talk about this, you make very good points about that transformation when Shanahan got here, and I believe Shanahan does deserve some credit for that part of Matt's career.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your chairs, because it's going to get acidic. 2015. When Shanahan came here, it was a whole bunch of shaking going on, because that was a year that him and Roddy White fell out. Matt Ryan was following instructions, because I remember it was a week prior. I can't remember what game it was, but the fans had been clamoring for Matt Ryan to throw more to Roddy White on the radio. You remember?
Yeah. I remember the game was there.
Yeah.
I remember.
And in a shut up fans coaching moment, he featured 3 straight passes to Roddy White. No matter whether he was covered or not, he threw him the ball. Now, the wide receiver coach at the time, I remember seeing a clip where something was going on the sideline, and he was telling Roddy White, hey, he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to prove a point. So you're going to be getting the ball 3 times or whatever. You're gonna be getting ball repeatedly just for him to prove a point, because he was just wondering what was going on. Roddy White was just wondering what was going on, and it was Shanahan that was doing that. Then there was a situation with Matt Ryan himself where he had stopped using the shotgun, period, and didn't allow Matt Ryan to audible, because prior to that, Matt Ryan used to get out there and call every, as an audible, used to call every car that Chevrolet made, in his audibles. And he was famous for doing that.
Yeah.
Now, 2015 season ended with all of that going on, and it became public knowledge that Shanahan and Matt Ryan did not get along. It was a friction going on, and it was a friction where Shanahan was not impressed as to what Matt Ryan had done. The 13-3 season in 2010. Losing to Green Bay. And I don't know whether he rattled these things off or whatever, but he was not impressed with Matt Ryan's body of work. And at the end of that season, it was a situation where even the Fox broadcasters said that Matt Ryan, and I will never forget it. It was Jimmy Johnson, Terry Bradshaw, and a couple of, those two definitely was saying that Matt Ryan looked like he needed to go back to school to learn how to be a quarterback. I mean, they were very, very critical of Matt Ryan. And coincidentally, that was the first time that Matt Ryan ever attended a quarterback camp or went to a quarterback camp in that offseason.
Yeah. Was that the Tom House year?
Yes.
Yes.
That was his first time going.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to that, they had an airing out because Dimitrov, they were trying to get rid of each other. They got into the point where they were trying to get rid of each other. And Dimitrov said, look, you guys are going to be working together. Y'all need to iron this thing out. Okay. And they supposedly did. And there was concessions made on both sides. And 2016 came. And he just took off. Matt Ryan just took off. One of the things that I have always chronicled about Matt Ryan as one of his deficiencies is that he stared at receivers. Kyle Shanahan stopped him from doing that. And it was one of the things that unlocked Matt Ryan. It unlocked him. He had more pop on the ball. He was more decisive. And you could see by the stats, because I think his quarterback rating went up 20 points from 2015 to 2016, throwing to 13 different receivers for touchdowns. It was noticeable all during the league, and everybody could see, and we were feared offensively. We were feared offensively because of what Shanahan and Ryan had done. Now, I can't give Shanahan credit without Ryan, because Shanahan was coaching Ryan. Shanahan wasn't throwing no passes.
I absolutely want to say that, and I don't, and I'm going to read a couple of these comments because I didn't want this to become the Kyle Shanahan show, because this is not Kyle Shanahan's day; it's Matt Ryan's day. But I asked you the question. I'm not talking about you per se.
Oh no.
But I'm gonna ask some of the people were saying Shanahan never had a quarterback mentioned in the MVP conversation before Matt, before him or after him. Get Matt his flowers. Shanahan's good. He can't get out of his way. Do what he did best. He would have 3 rings. I'm gonna go to a couple more. Dexter also says run the ball. He would have 3 rings. Shanahan have been overrated. Even when the Falcons have played bad and had bad teams, we have always been able to beat him as the coach of the Redskins and 49ers. Facts. Travis says Shanahan did with Matt the same way he's doing with Purdy. He maximized Ryan's talents and didn't ask him to go beyond that. Juan says Kyle's offensive scheme made a lot of quarterbacks look good. Matt was great already, but Kyle made RG3, Matt Schaub, and Brian Horter looks like all pros. Juan says, got to remember Kyle and the OCs that came from his trees don't like their quarterbacks changing plays all the time. That was one of the issues with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Now, I say all that, and that's gonna be it for Kyle Shanahan for me. But the only reason I brought up Kyle Shanahan because kind of like John was saying, that was kind of a place in the sand. Folks, if Kyle Shanahan, whether you like him or not, it is not about. I know a lot of people have feelings which I don't understand as much. We could talk about Kyle Shanahan all he want, but Kyle Shanahan's gone to what 3 Super Bowls, 5 NFC championship games, and I'm not trying to sit here and tell you he's the Vince Lombardi, but I am saying as far as coaches getting their quarterbacks, whoever they are, he's doing something right and he's pushing a button somewhere to get them. And that particular year, I think Matt Ryan needed a push. And if you remember the 2000 going into from what John was talking about from the 15 to 16 year, it was a different Matt Ryan. The way he looked, his presence, um, his stature. Matt had hit the weights. Matt was looking very good going into 16, and I do feel like, um, in my opinion, I think Kyle did a great job um, getting Matt to that point. Now, you also have to give Matt credit because Matt, I know 17 wasn't a great year but in 18 under Steve Sarkisian, he still threw for 34 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So it's not like he didn't have it in him. But at that particular time, we had 3 non-winning seasons in 13, 14, and 15. And, you needed something to give him that push. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I don't want to belabor the thing on him. There's another question I wanted to ask you. Ron joins us. What's up, Ron? He said, Stephen and John, did Matt Ryan have more okay games or more great games? That's a fair question. Again, I don't want to, this is not about, this is not the beat up Matt Ryan day. I didn't want to go here. I'll say Matt had more solid games than probably great games. I think, I wouldn't say okay. Matt Ryan, let's look real quick. Because I want to be fair about this assessment. And I know you probably got to put on your magnifying glasses, but I'm gonna put it on here anyway, Jay, if you could see. Hold on. I'm gonna put this up here on the thing, and we're gonna look at Matt Ryan's. Let me take his comment off so you can look. You're looking at Matt Ryan's career in those years. Now, we all talk about the first 5 where they won an average of 10 to 11 games a year from 08 to 12. We talked about the years of 13 through 15. Now, believe it or not, that 13 year, I think Matt Ryan actually went to the Pro Bowl one of those 2 years, and I believe it might have been the 2014 year, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look at the numbers, 68%, 67%, 66%, 66%, 69%, 64%, 69%. Look at those percentages. 2 out of every 3 that from pretty much 2012 until the end. Now, at the end, he wasn't slinging it like he used to, but those are some pretty good numbers, man. The touchdowns, they kind of faded off after 18. You see from 2012, he was 32, 26, 29, 38. 2017 was not great, 35, and then he kind of dipped off a little bit. Now, granted, we didn't have a lot of receivers, but to answer Ron's question, I mean, but we weren't asking him to have great games. We wanted him to be a consistent quarterback. And when you look at those numbers right there, and I'm gonna pull it down for the final tally, which is the biggest thing. Hold on. Right here, I'm not worried about Indy. Let's go to the Atlanta era, which is right here. 14 years in Atlanta. 120 wins, 102 loss. 102 losses, 65% passing completion, 367 to 170. I mean, that's what you want out of your quarterback. Is that wrong, John?
Yes. Now, this is the thing about that. Those are really good stats for a quarterback on average.
Yes.
There have been quarterbacks that have done much more and won games and Super Bowls. There have been quarterbacks that have done less and won games and Super Bowls.
Sure.
So, looking at the numbers, looking at these numbers, it is not a situation where I can say that he did good or did bad looking at those numbers alone. You know, he was what, as you just said, what you needed as a quarterback as far as stability, as far as being able to lead a team. And the thing is about Matt Ryan, that with all of the criticisms that I have about Matt Ryan, I had about Matt Ryan while he was playing, there was a level of quarterback proficiency that I knew that he would not go below. Just like you said, and just like everybody was saying, and I think it was one of the comments, you saw how bad it could get.
Yes.
In the past 3 years.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
saw how bad it could get. There
Absolutely.
were comments that everybody was saying prior to Matt Ryan leaving, well, you gonna miss him when he's gone. Of course you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't replace him with what you had in him, definitely you're going to miss him. Because the first thing about it is that, when you have a Marcus Mariota taking over for Matt Ryan, with his obvious flaws, Desmond Ridder taking over for Matt Ryan with his obvious flaws. I'm not blaming either one of those quarterbacks.
Not at all.
I'm blaming
the guy in Pittsburgh.
I'm blaming the coaching staff because you chose them, you didn't coach them, and we were expecting, even though it might have been unrealistic to expect it, we were expecting goodness, if not greatness.
And also, John, on top of that, you had an opportunity in 2021 to draft a quarterback. Now, I understand now as we look, nobody's throwing parades for Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and Matt Jones. However, if you were the quote-unquote guru you were supposed to be in Arthur Smith, and the reason why we allegedly brought you in here, you should have been able to take a young quarterback and at least improve him to some semblance of a quality quarterback. Let me get to these comments. A couple of folks. I see Dexter says, I think what unlocked Shanahan's offense was the same thing you're talking about. But I remember when Julio and crew got together and told him to start to spread the ball around is what changed the offense. That's fair. Your brother Winston is in the house from the eye test. What's going on, brother Winston? How you doing, brother? Thank you so much. Yeah, if y'all coming in, make sure y'all hit that like button for us on YouTube, Facebook. We appreciate bringing y'all the content. I'm sitting here with my brother John from the eye test. Y'all make sure y'all check the eye test out Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. They're doing their thing over there. So y'all make sure y'all check them out. John, 3 Dirty in the house. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling, man? Good to see you. Coach Dre says, come on, you have to be fair. Matt Ryan normally did his job. More than half the losses were because of terrible defenses. He absolutely had more great games than okay games. I guess, and listen, don't get me wrong. It's not a criticism, Dre. I think great, almost like, I know Jay talks about this all the time, when we start calling everybody GOAT, then you don't have anything else to build on. We got about 7 GOATs. So that makes, you know what I'm saying? Tom Brady didn't have more great games than he had good games. I think Tom Brady had a lot of good games. He didn't have a lot of great games. Did he have a lot of great moments? Bet you behind he did. But he didn't have a lot of great games. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. Great games to me are 5 touchdown games, 80% passing. I led my team to a victory in the last second all the time. Those are great games to me. So it kind of makes it kind of depends on what you define as good and great. I don't think it's wrong to say now what Ron said was okay. I kind of took okay out. I say good and great. Matt had more good games than great games. Great games, the games we were talking about, the Green Bay game in the playoffs, um, the the game against Seattle the week before that. I'm trying to think of other great games. I remember a comeback he made against Baltimore. I never did ask you, Jay, before I get into the comments again. What's your favorite Matt Ryan moment?
Mm.
Lord have mercy. All right. While you thinking about that, let me read 2 more comments. Dexter says they were feeding Julio every play, and teams had started to key in on and that which was year 2015 when we started off 5-0. 2016 when the crew got together, offense went crazy. Matt was really the man. Um, for I'm sure that you're talking about Shanahan. Yeah, that's kind of true. They did kind of force feed Julio a lot in 15. And don't get me wrong, I believe Roddy White was in the doghouse with Shanahan, and when you got Mohamed Sanu, all of a sudden things start clicking. Don't underestimate the acquisition of Taylor Gabriel as well on that particular team. I think that paid dividends as well. Clayton Murray says my favorite Matt play was when he kicked off Green Bay Stampede by deciding to jump them and run into the championship. Also, the Julio down there somewhere throw for JJ Moss. Kelvin said he got Pitts over 1,000 yards. He did get him over 1,000. True. Juan says more years with a winning record than a losing record. I think that ended up evening out though, because those last 4 years, Juan. Remember, he had 5 straight. Then he had 2. No, you know what? You're absolutely right. He had 7 and 6. Let's see, 13, 14, 15, and then 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's 7. Actually, he had 7 and 7. Let me see. Let me do this right again. All right, keep my thing for me. So 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, that's 5. 16, 6, 17, 7. Non-losing season, I'm sorry, non-winning seasons, 13, 14, 15, that's 3, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's 7 and 7. So he had 7 um with
7 wins, 7
and,
wins.
and I know technically, Juan, you might be not including the 8 and 8 season, but quite honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. You start 5-0. I'm gonna include that as a non-winning season more than it is a losing season, because you can't start 5-0 and be satisfied with an 8 and 8 finish at that point, in my opinion. Matt Towns in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you in here. Thanks for joining us. Juan comes back, said the best quote from Matt in the Green Bay championship game. Matt told Julio, I don't care if you're triple covered, I'm throwing it. I remember that. If y'all haven't seen that, go look at the NFL films of the 2016 NFC Championship game. It's must see every time I see it. My brother Ray Ellison is in the house. What's going on, Ray? How you doing? Coach is in the house. What's up, Coach? He said those numbers will stack up with anyone if there is not a name next to it. I agree. Antonio says, I guess my question wasn't worth the answer. You know what, Antonio? This one of them days that when we have somebody on and we going through, I apologize. I'm gonna go back up here and try to see if I see your question, brother. You got forgive me for going through that, not getting your question. Put your question back here at the bottom, man. I apologize. Um, Dexter says, how many rings Matt would have won if he was in Baltimore than with the Falcons when they drafted Flacco? Our defense ranked 32nd overall his first 10 years, and offense ranked first. If I'm lying, research it. Oh, hey.
Well, and my problem with a lot of those defensive rankings and a lot of those narratives is the fact that, okay, now, first of all, we are here to observe the retirement of Matt Ryan. And in doing so, if you're not careful, you'll start examining Matt Ryan and start examining Matt Ryan's career.
That's true.
And start talking about the successes and failures.
That's right.
And start to, polarize people. That's why I am being as eloquently neutral as I possibly can concerning this particular day, because I want to recognize the service that he performed as our starting quarterback for the 14 seasons he had been here.
Is this a 24-hour rule?
Well, I mean, it might have expired already, but I'm just saying, such as with Michael Vick, such as with Marcus Mariota, such as with Desmond Ridder, such as with Arthur Smith, such as with anybody and everybody associated with the Falcons.
Right.
There are polarizing moments and polarizing situations that come with this team. And I mean, we got a team for you. If you want news, if you want good, if you want bad, especially over the past 3 years.
Right.
And in doing, in me coming on and me and you coming on, this is the day that we recognize Matt Ryan is retiring, and that's basically where, I would like to leave this or approach this, because of the fact, you asked me what was my favorite Matt Ryan game. I don't particularly have
moment.
I really don't have a Matt Ryan moment. Okay. Not for me. That does not mean that I do not recognize what it is that he did overall for the franchise.
Got it.
That's one thing I want everybody to understand. He did well for the franchise. Just like I just said about, you saw how bad it could get, without him.
This is true.
All right. You saw how bad it could get without him. So it makes you these past 3 years, past 2 years, I just say the past 2 years, makes you appreciate what he did do for the team and for the city. Absolutely. And we did get to the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. We closed the Georgia Dome outright
in style
with Matt Ryan.
And also did something, Jay, at that time, before you just saw Kansas City back up their Super Bowl run. NFC teams up to that point with the Falcons, they were like on a 5 or 6 game Super Bowl streak, where the NFC team that went to the Super Bowl, whether they won or lost, didn't go back to the playoffs. And the Falcons were couple of failed plays in Philly, in my opinion, from getting to the NFC Championship again. So give them a lot of credit for getting back to that particular moment right there. Let me get a couple more of these comments in here. Juan says, no, it didn't when he was in Indy. Indy actually suffered a cursed season. Coming into Indy, Indy, they had a better O-line and a legit running back. But Taylor got hurt and the O-line fell apart. Kelvin says that part, Brady rarely beat himself. Mistakes didn't do him in. Let me get one. Got a special guest coming in here. My brother in arms, my buddy Tidy, getting paid by Nike to wear their stuff in the house, knowing good and well that Phil Knight got some money for him. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, Steve? How you doing, John?
What's going on there, Tidy? Don't you start now.
Tidy, I'm gonna give you the floor, but I got a mom alert. My mom just set in, so I gotta read mom. She said, "Hey, John Harris, looking good. I'm agreeing with your statements concerning Matt Ryan and Shanahan. I need to say though, he didn't get us our Super Bowl. If we're giving him all these accolades, maybe this old lady won't come to fruition. He was a Falcon. Good health and good future ventures. We thank you for those exciting moments he did manage to give to us. Oh, hello to you too, son." That's all right. I ain't worried about it because, Mother's Day about 2 weeks away. So you can say, hey.
Oh, no, wait. Hold that against her. Come on, Steve.
Hey, man.
Thank you, Miss Johnson.
But I'm going to tell you, man, she be rough on it. She ain't playing with these. She done been here from the beginning. So she knows. So she don't play, man. You don't do what you're supposed to do. You get favored. You don't get any love. Tidy, what's going on, my friend? Y'all make sure y'all check us out on Thursday, man. We're going to do this draft thing on Thursday as we've done for the past, 4 or 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Man, this is going to be good. But look, today is match day. So the floor is yours, my friend. I want to hear, I've seen some of your posts that were spot on. Let me know how you feel about Matt Ryan as a whole, what he was to this organization, and more importantly to the city, because I think that gets missed a lot about some of the things he did for the city and the area.
All right, let's see. Where do I start? How my sound is, Steve? Because I'm on Bluetooth and I know sometimes
you good. You good, brother.
Okay, awesome. All right, so where do we start with Mr. Matthew Ryan, man? It mostly was compared to our past. It was a great ride with Matt Ryan. He did a lot of great things for the franchise and also did a lot great things for the city as well. I will say this, being a lifelong Falcons fan as long as I can remember, that's been my one and only team. I'm not one of these people that'll have 2 teams or 3 teams. I don't got an AFC team. I don't have a Midwest team. I don't have a Northeast team. So it's been Falcons for the duration of my life, and I got to give Matt Ryan credit. Coming up, I came up, toward the end of the Barkowski era. So Chris Miller, Jeff George for a short amount of time. Of course, Michael Vick. But I will say this: all those quarterbacks and all those players that have came through at Atlanta, I don't think this fan base got the expectation of winning until Matt Ryan got here. Prior to that, I think a lot of us, we just happy we got a team in Atlanta. We just happy to make the playoffs. Right. And then it got to the point, we just happy to continue to beat the Saints. Once Matt Ryan got here, the expectation changed. Right. Okay, you went to a Super Bowl already. You've been beating up on the Saints for quite a while. Now it's time to think Super Bowl. And now this fan base are starting to think, okay, let's win a Super Bowl. Because before it just seemed like it was an impossible thing for us. And I heard you talking earlier, even though we win in '98, but I don't think many people really thought we had a real chance.
Not at all.
To beat Denver that year. That was one of the biggest point spreads of the last 30 years of that Super Bowl.
That's right.
So no, even the biggest Falcons fan was kind of like, well, we just happen to be here. We were the Cinderella team.
At
You know,
14-2.
at 14-2, right? And of course, Matt Ryan, this has been overstated, but I'll repeat it. You get the first back-to-back winning seasons, and then you draft him in 2008, and we know what he walked into. It was gonna be he walked into a territory where the cards was stacked against him, because you're replacing an international superstar who a lot of us felt like was just taken from us prematurely. And the player that he replaced. So, a lot of people was real standoffish with him because of that. It's like, hey man, this is our guy, this is our superstar, and like, who are you? We don't, we down Southeast region. We don't watch Boston College. We don't know who you are.
No.
So he walked in facing a lot of odds, and eventually, he won a great deal of the fan base over. And I will say this, to kind of wrap myself up. I know I get kind of long winded, but
brother, keep going. I'm listening, bro.
But I will say this for our fellow Falcons fans, this is really Matt Ryan's day,
Yeah.
and trust me, I found myself wrapped into the entertainment value of trolling when it comes to Matt Ryan. I've got wrapped into that before.
Right.
You sitting at home bored sometimes, hey, it can be fun. But but this is his day. And I really feel like 14 years started from day one, and he walked out the door, he was still the starter. It's not like he was on the bench, even though it was getting close to that time. But anyway,
it was past.
Yeah.
It was a year past.
Right. What I want to say is, like, I really feel like no matter how you feel about Mr. Ryan, like, he has earned this day. This is his day.
Yes.
This is really not the day to say, well, all right, he didn't do this for us, or he didn't do that for us, or so and so was better, or he was overpaid. You know what? You got 364 other days to make that point and to kick up that dust. And that dust will continue to get kicked up because that's how Falcons fans are. But this one day, I just feel like, you know what? This is his day. Let him have his day. Let him have his moment. He has earned it. When Roddy White retired, I don't think it would have been the right thing to say, well, Roddy was kind of a bad teammate. He didn't really want to pass the torch to Julio. He started speaking out about his targets. Like, no. You can do that tomorrow. Let Roddy have this day today. When Julio Jones put that announcement out there, maybe be this offseason, maybe next offseason. But when he officially retires, let him have his day. That's not the day to talk about, well, Julio went on Shannon Sharp and Julio went a good teammate. This country. No, that's not the day. Let Julio have his day. You can do that the other 364 days of the year. And I feel the same way about Matt Ryan. Right. Let Matt Ryan have his day today. Today is his day. And I do want to say this, Steve. I know I'm taking up a lot of time.
No, you good, man. You good. You haven't heard me cut you 1 second. I'm good.
But I will say this. Over and beyond him and what he did on the field for the franchise, I've always had a great deal of respect for Matt Ryan for being just a stand-up gentleman, a stand-up guy. And since he's left the Falcons, my respect for him being a stand-up guy has become even greater. I still remember, when like Big Low say, when we was, as a franchise, when we was getting butt naked for Deshaun Watson, when all that was going on, Matt Ryan allowed us to delay that roster bonus. I don't know if people remember that.
That's right.
And I think he did it twice.
Yeah.
But he did not have to do that.
Nope.
And also, as you mentioned earlier, the thing he put his money, with the George Floyd incident.
Man.
When he got traded, he had an engagement with charity in Atlanta. He flew back from Indianapolis the same week he got traded and met his engagement. So if you didn't, if he win your cup of tea as a player, to me, you just a grade A hater if you can't appreciate person he is. Because he's an outstanding person beyond a player. And I'll end it on that. Sorry for taking up so much time.
No, man. You listen. That's part. You were part of the reason why. One of the reasons why I kind of let you go, because I know. Listening to John all day, you're gonna get that Switzerland type response because he's so neutral towards Matt Ryan, and I get it. But there is.
He filled in my gap. He filled in my gap.
I understand that, but some of the
But
points.
John, you done great today. John has been great today. He's been excellent.
Tidy. When have you heard him be this sublime about Matt Ryan?
Steve, I'm wondering if he dropped the tear on.
Let him keep pushing. Low. Let him keep pushing. Let him keep pushing.
I already know. That's why I ain't saying nothing, Mr. John.
Y'all gonna keep pushing. Now, hey man, I'm trying to be professional now because I'm a content creator now. So I'm trying to be professional. Trying to be a little professional.
I absolutely wanted to get that point across, and Tidy, I appreciate it, man. Stay right there, man. Low. Y'all know Big Low Country Sports. Y'all make sure y'all check them out. And again, Tidy on the Atlanta Bird game. Like I said, we'll be kicking off draft coverage on Thursday night, as we always did. Bring your best libation that you could have, so we can toast to our hopefully draft pick if the NFL doesn't do anything about it. Big Low, tell us, man, as a hardcore Falcon fan, and look. Was he perfect? No. Was he elite? No. But he was ours for 14 years. Tell me how you feel about Matt Ryan.
So have y'all ever seen, like, on Instagram or TikTok, like that Dr. Phil clip? Whenever the girl's talking to Dr. Phil, and he was like, "Is this your man?" She's like, "Yep, that's my man. That's mine right there." She's like, "Him?" Like, yeah, I love him. That's my man. I don't know if y'all.
I don't support TikTok.
I've seen it.
Oh, you seen it? Well, it's been on Instagram too. And that's how I feel about Matt Ryan. One thing about Matt Ryan is that every Sunday, whenever we went to the Dome or we went to the Benz, we knew we at least had a chance. We knew that we would at least have a chance to win. We know that we're gonna get some blood pressure spikes throughout the afternoon because Matt, he's gonna do something. You like, come on, Matt. But he always makes up for it, and then just what he did in the community. Do we remember? Like, so has anybody seen Glenn Dorsey?
Bruh.
Has anybody seen Glenn Dorsey the last 10 years? Anybody?
I don't know. UFL been on last couple of weeks. Is he on? Is he in there?
Is he wrestling?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just remember everybody on Facebook, before Facebook was Facebook, everybody making the case that, hey, I don't know why we going this route.
Right.
We need to get Glenn Dorsey. Don't nobody want no Matt Ryan. I remember hearing the radio interviews whenever, Matt Ryan was on V103 and everywhere else, and everybody's like, hey, Matt, how you gonna? He's like, hey, I'm just gonna come in and do my best. And the crazy thing is that what's so surreal about this whole situation is that it's like me and Matt, like, we're around the same age, and it's like we both came up together. I remember when he came to Atlanta and they gave him a truck at Wade Ford because he didn't have a vehicle, and of course he could have afforded one, but I mean, it's like I literally feel like we both went through the struggle together to kind of get where we're at in our respective lives, and like now he's shutting it down, man. It's the end of an era.
It's almost it is interesting to talk about where he started and now where he ended. If you watch the first, before I go into that, I want to thank my sister coming in here, Lisa. How you doing, Lisa? Lisa, I know you went on the blink. What was that scary movie like when they were showing the screen and it kept doing like this, and then in the movie, like the person reached out and got you. What was the one when the girl came out? That's what your screen is doing.
I know. That's why I stopped the cam because I was like, "Why is my screen jumping?" I don't know. So I'll just be quick because I know that's a little distracting.
No. You know you're gonna have time on this forum. I can't do it without you as being somebody who is a public, huge fan. I know you're going to Detroit, right?
Yep.
So I've got to ask you. I saw some of your comments earlier on a couple of posts. Tell us first what's your thoughts about Matt, and then talk a little bit about the press conference, because I saw it. I know you saw it, and it kind of just tell me how you felt when you saw that press conference with him today.
Well, let me start by saying, I remember when the whole, Deshaun Watson pursuit happened, and then the eventual fallout of Matt Ryan wanting up out of here. And I was just like, I don't know. It's a trip how sports can just make you feel attached to somebody that you've never met. I was more emotional about Matt going to Indianapolis and leaving Atlanta, really, than I expected to be. I was like, that has been my quarterback for 14 years. Now, granted, those last 2 or 3 were rough. Like, I definitely think we should have probably moved on from him before then. But when it was official that he was no longer playing for the Falcons as our QB1, that was a rough day for me. You know what I mean? I was at work just in my feelings, like he's really gone. And I just remember, how this fan base is. So many other people were happy. And I'm like, well, y'all won. He's gone. You know what I mean? So when that happened, I was like, whoo, I was a little surprised at how emotional I was. But I guess it's just 14 years. That's a nice chunk of time, right?
That's a long time.
And then seeing him today, just being Matt Ryan, professional, saying the right things, and and I just thought that it was interesting that he thanked, the fans, because I know Sarah Ryan Bennett was in our social media streets. I know she's seen all the Matt Ryan slander about her man. And I know Matt Ryan saw it as well. You know what I mean? But yet he thanked us, and I liked how he framed it. He was just like, I saw the passion that y'all had.
Yeah, I saw that.
That made me laugh, because I was just like, because you know what I mean? But that's Matt Ryan. It just through it all. And, without belaboring, the elephant in the room about our Super Bowl loss, he acknowledged it, you know what I mean? And even when the reporter asked him about it, he still, I like how Matt just stands up. You know what I'm saying? He's 10 toes down. He doesn't hide. He didn't hide, the Super Bowl lost night. He faced the music. And it's kind of like, how many 23, questions can he answer in his lifetime? I mean, it'll always be a part, of him and his, resume, because our offense was so prolific that season. It does hurt to not, have finished it. But I mean, Matt Ryan, my goodness, I was just like, way to go. That's why I said the consummate professional. The consummate professional. He didn't diss anybody. And even, thanking Arthur Blank, for allowing him to retire a Falcon, considering how it went down at the end. It just seemed like nothing but love and respect. And you're right. You talked about, what he did for the city after the whole George Floyd thing. Certainly didn't have to do that. He acknowledged that he really was not aware of certain things just because of who he is. And he's never really had to really be impacted by certain things. But he was just kind of like, wrong is wrong. And I can't be afraid to step out there and make some comments. And the fact that he did come back to Atlanta when he was playing for Indianapolis to do things with that foundation that he established after the George Floyd murder. So, I mean, again, not a Ryan night. I was just like, as long as he's my QB1, I'm riding with him. But I always, like I said, I felt like, we did keep him a little bit too long. But at the end of the day, Matt Ryan has nothing but my respect. Y'all won't hear me say nothing bad about that man. I think I'm pretty objective in terms of how I view our team. I try not to be, too much in love with rose-colored glasses, and I definitely try not to be too critical. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'll let my blinking screen go, but I just wanted to at least acknowledge, Matt Ryan's retirement. For me, it's nothing but respect.
Lisa, I totally appreciate you and thank you so much. Because I blame technology for making your thing.
It's so strange.
But you know what it is. John Harris got something to do with it. But as far as that's concerned, I appreciate you coming in.
Okay,
let everybody know what you're doing at Blogging Dirty so they can keep up with you, and then I'm gonna let you
okay.
your business there.
Yeah, so I write for Blogging Dirty. I focus on pretty much kind of like the experience of being a Falcons fan and the different ways that plays out. So definitely look for some coverage from Detroit. There are quite a few Falcons fans going. Also, who will be there will be Alex Santos. He was named the first international fan of the year. So the Falcons are flying him from Berlin to Detroit. He'll actually be in Detroit on Wednesday through Sunday. So he'll be at the draft. I'm sure he'll get some TV time. And just kind of connecting with Falcons fans from all over that'll be at the draft. So I will definitely be covering that.
Please check in with me and Tidy on draft now you can.
Yes, I definitely will. Definitely will.
Thank you so much. And now
okay,
we're gonna stop being scared. Take care. And that is good stuff from Lisa, man. And some of y'all don't know, Lisa and I are classmates and Falcon fans together. So always appreciate.
You got held back a couple times. Oh.
Say what now? Say what you say?
I just want you got held back a couple of times.
Held back from? Oh no, brother! Y'all, man, please, no. I was.
I just wondered.
Lisa will tell you. Lisa will tell you we were good students. We were not.
I'm glad you caught on, Steve, because you about to give Big Low a little evidence of being held back.
No. You know what?
I'm glad you caught on quick.
You know what?
That's your friend, though, Steve. That's your friend down there.
Hey, that's all right. But it's so
no enemies needed.
It's so easy to push this remove button. So I didn't get a chance to ask you two guys, Tidy and Low, while we're here. Favorite Falcon moments. We've heard so many and heard a couple of them repeated over and over again, but I never get tired of hearing what moments meant to them as well. Talk to me about your favorite Matt moment, just off the rip. Tidy, I'm gonna start with you, brother.
Okay, my favorite Matt moment. I'm gonna have to throw a slight curveball and just say the entire NFC Championship game. Watching Matt there, I was blessed to be there in person and watch the final Falcons game in the Georgia Dome. And man, it was something else. I was focused on watching him. He was having a amazing season, and that game in particular, I just saw something totally different about Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I saw a swagger from him that I've never seen. He kind of had that Atlanta bop in him a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And there was this he exuded confidence, along with, for the first time I can remember seeing from Matt, this arrogance that I just never saw from him. How he was walking and how he was carrying himself on the sideline. He had this aura of, look, I'm the best player in the league. I'm going to show all of y'all that today. I'm going to show number 12 on the other sideline that today. I am that MFer, and I'm going to prove it to y'all today. I don't know if it was that energy of being the last game in the Georgia Dome that hit him. But it was just something about Matt. He had that one black glove on. It was just, I don't know, man. That's just my favorite Matt Ryan moment. I'm never gonna forget that game and how he acted and carried himself. And he played. I think he ended with 5 touchdowns, 400 yards that game too.
And I'm gonna say something about that game too, Titan. I know you and I have talked about that game before, and I said it earlier in the stream. I think he exercised his career demons in that game. If you think about all the Matt can't win a playoff game, Matt can't do this, Matt can't do that. And I don't care if it was Green Bay, Dallas, well, we whooped Seattle the week before. Any NFC team that came in that dome that day, and I'll even take it a step further. I know people don't. New England would have had to end that game in that dome the way that bad boy was rocking that night. That night? That night?
Steve. Steve, this is probably my Falcons bias, but I'm about to go on a monumental reach.
Okay.
That night in that dome during that circumstances, with all those fans knowing this is the last game gonna be played in the dome.
Yes.
So there was a different kind of energy.
Way different. Way different.
I don't know if there's a team that would have beat us at all.
Not that day.
In that circumstance.
No, not at all. And remember, we thought the Seattle game was going to be last. Because remember, we played Seattle Saturday night. And the Dallas Green Bay game was Sunday. So Dallas would have had the home game had they won. So they were playing the Seattle game like, okay, bye. Georgia Dome, won't see y'all anymore, blah, blah. So to your point, you knew this was it. You knew they brought old boy out there with the saxophone that played the national anthem. And that, man, I'm not joking with you, man. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Man.
They played that. We got the ball, and them cats went right down the field. And from the moment they did that, I don't think, to your point, I don't think there was a team that was going to come in there and beat the Falcons that day. And dude, to hear the MVP, I know John going to have to go on mute because he can't stand this. But I know they were shouting MVP for Matt. Julio, they had to shush the crowd. If you remember, Julio made the catch across the middle, and they had to, up 30 points almost, they had to calm the crowd down because everybody was so hot. Man, it is, like Lisa says, that was one of my favorite moments ever as a Falcon fan. The dome was literally shaking and rocking on that night.
That's the first time I ever experienced that, when you felt the dome moving.
People don't believe you. You had to be. The dome was doing that. It was. And looking at the Green Bay people, normally I feel sorry for some people, but I wasn't feeling sorry for them that particular night, brother. I was so, into what was going on. Go ahead, John. I see you pointing your finger there.
That NFC Championship game in the Dome against Green Bay was the redemption and revenge game for 2010, when Matt Ryan, it was. And
I think it's more than that, John. I think that was the redemption game. I think it was the redemption game for his career. If you think about, no, I hear what you're saying. Because 13-3, you were the number one seed. You should have won. I get that. But I think, remember the narrative going into the 2016 year? Well, Matt barely won that game against Seattle a couple years ago. They had to kick the last second field goal. He didn't win a playoff game in the first couple of years and all of that. And then,
and the fact that he was tied with Michael Vick for career playoff wins at that particular.
Absolutely. And that was something like we got a couple of super chats in here. Let me get these out the way right quick. My boy JJ the Great in the house in here. I got my thing on here. I know with Uncle Steve that we will always read your super chat. Read your super chat. John, I'm gonna have to get you to sing on one of these super chats for me, man. One day and get you all here. You can. I guess that's a no.
Well, hey, now I sing and play keyboard in other venues. You don't want to hear it.
No, we don't want to hear that. JJ says, thank you, JJ. We appreciate you, brother. He said, do y'all think a playoff game in the Benz could be that turn? I guess we'll find out this season. That's a very good question. I'm gonna let y'all. We're gonna answer that question when we get to this one right here. Coach's Corner sends us another one right quick. We're gonna get that one in here too. They say why Uncle Steve will read your comments. See, that's I need background on that, Jay. Because I like it that way. You can't help me? No?
Boom, boom, boom.
Thank you, Dre. He said, as I said, I could feel it through the TV. Absolutely, you could. Get back to that JJ question, and thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. Do y'all think a playoff game in the Benz could be that turn? I'm gonna ask you, Tidy, because I have an answer for that. I'm gonna see if it mirrors what you say.
All right, I'm gonna say I definitely hope so, but I'm also gonna add there was a lot of it, as I mentioned and you mentioned, Steve, there was a lot of emotion in that game that really can't be replicated with everything that was going on. You know, and also we gotta keep in mind that the old Georgia Dome seating prices. So, and the reason I say that is because you had a lot of, and not to be disrespectful to anybody who goes to the games now, but you had a lot of true blue fans in the stadium that day. You know, even though it was a playoff game, the people that is not necessarily the same people that attend currently.
Right.
So, just to answer the question and not be long-winded this time, I definitely hope so, but I don't know if you will ever recapture that magic without a Super Bowl.
I agree, and I say three letters, and you mentioned them when you were talking about it. It's PSL. I think the PSL situation, we can't. It's part of the reason why I feel like the Benz isn't what the Dome was. You've priced out the average fan. I see it all the time. I see people talk about it online. That's a beautiful facility, y'all. And it really is nice. The Benz is nice. As overall, it's a better facility than the Georgia Dome.
Yep.
To Tidy's point, especially near the end when we knew the Georgia Dome was on the brink of closing, it was a different kind of nostalgia. I even go back to the last regular season game when they brought out, you talk about shaky moments when Mike Vick rolls out of there with Roddy White. I know it's Matt Ryan's day, but when he rolls out there with Roddy White, just that energy from the Dome at that time. Winning will be the only thing, JJ, that will get the Benz quote unquote turned. If Kirk can get us to a division game there, or Lord forbid another NFC championship, then we'll see the limits. But I tell you what, we have opportunity this year. You have the opportunity with the team you have to do that. Go ahead, Jay.
Now, when we moved into the Georgia Dome in '92, we were saying the same thing.
Different. Hold on, before you even go there. Difference is you didn't have the winning. We had the too legit to quit campaign that was they were coming into that first year in the dome. But before that, you really didn't have what Matt Ryan had brought from 2008 up to 16.
You're absolutely correct. But what I'm saying, we thought going into the dome, they had instituted some rules, some etiquette. You couldn't bring signs in.
Yeah, that's right.
You couldn't bring your liquor in like they used to do at Fulton County Stadium. I mean, it was and if you could pull the Atlanta Journal and Constitution from back then when we moved from rowdy Fulton County Stadium, because we used to have a banner that whenever the Falcons did something good, especially back in 78 and 80, it was a banner they used to have that says, "Oh, hell yeah." That everybody would put up. They wouldn't even let them bring that in the dome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a culture change.
Right.
It was a culture change because of moving from old rickety rack Fulton County Stadium, where you had a layer of grasshoppers this thick down there at the field level, even in the seats, that they Falcons fans too. I mean, it was real grass, the pitcher's mound. If you caught a pass around about the 45 or 50-yard line, you had the doggone go and get out because you had dust all in your face. Because we made do. We made that place into a home. And everywhere that Falcon fans go, that railroad gully down there, man, that was some of the wildest, best tailgating. I mean, to this man's question, we here in Atlanta will crank some stuff up. If the mood is right, it may not be able to recapture what it was that we had with Michael Vick, what we had with Matt Ryan, or the championship game. But Atlanta, Georgia will crank some stuff up, and I'm telling you, man, look, if it comes as emotionally loaded or close to emotionally loaded as that game was down there in the dome, yes, we can act a fool like that in the new rich man's place. We will. We definitely will.
If you win. If you win, I'm gonna spill the dreams. If you win, they will come.
We come.
And we will come if you win. We came close early in the year when they were 2-0. Last year, that Green Bay game was relatively crowded. It was a lot of Green Bay fans there, but it was a good crowd for that second game of the year last year, the home game where we beat Green Bay to go 2-0. But winning will keep the fans there. When we went on the little losing streak, then it was like, hey, I hear Tidy say this all the time, same old Falcons. And that's what it comes down to when you start looking at that. I'm gonna bring my man in. I was getting ready to break off, but I'm gonna let my man come in here for the last couple of minutes and finish us off. That's my brother Wolf, solidified in the house. What is going on, my brother?
What's up, man? I'm traveling, so when I heard the news, I was over the road because I traveling doing some things right now. Okay. But salute to everybody, salute to Tidy, salute to the gentleman, salute to everybody, Bird Gang, salute to everybody, man. All I'm gonna say this: I can't tell you what Atlanta is because I'm not from Atlanta. I can't tell you what the culture is. I can't tell you how the people feel. That's for my sister to educate. She's been living down there for 30 years. But I tell you what, when I wore that Matt Ryan jersey anywhere in the East Coast, they couldn't tell me nothing.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? When I put on that Deuce Mob jersey, it was different for me. I couldn't tell you nothing about. You can't tell me nothing about nothing, and it's the reason why the South was so good. Because you was already battle tested in the division. So Matt was already battle tested going up against Breeze, going up against Cam. And people can say what they want about Winston, but Winston was slinging that ball too.
Yeah.
This division was battle tested. So when you talk about somebody like Matt, bro, you gotta understand, you got to get back to probabilities. You got to, as content creators, you got to get back to probabilities, because it was a probability that our quarterback was going to be Glenn Dorsey. That was a big probability for us. Remember, Arthur Blank didn't love Matt Ryan. He loved Glenn Dorsey. Everybody go do the history. Glenn Dorsey was going to be your quarterback. So for those who hate on Matt Ryan, please appreciate, thank him, and make sure you understand that if you don't get a guy like that in the building, you never going to get back to prominent. And he didn't have good teams. Matt never had complete teams. Never. You go to the... What's up?
Let me ask you a question right quick, Wolf, because you have the unique perspective of not being here
Right.
and being a Falcon fan. Tell me what people outside, away from the Atlanta area, thought about Matt Ryan. We keep, here, I think, obviously it's a lot more love down, probably more love than hate at when Matt was going through his best years. As we start thinking about things like the Hall of Fame and what his perception was to the end, what was the talk up there about Matt during the prime years?
Oh, Matt was spoken in high regard, and this is New York, Boston. This was before the 28-3. You got to remember, we went through a 28-2. I was at the game when we lost 28-2.
The Giants game,
right? You see what I'm saying? So you got to remember, like, before the 28-3 in Boston, he was a god in Boston. People forget he was a god in Boston.
Yeah.
Rhode Island, where Bird on them from, he was a god of the. You got to remember, the Patriots don't belong to Boston.
Right.
The Patriots don't play in Boston. They play in Foxborough.
That's right.
Foxborough is not in Boston.
Yeah.
Foxborough is more by New Hampshire. You see what I'm saying? It's dead over there right now. So
it was away from us.
So before, like, up here, like, and I'm not a college watcher, right? I'm not a college watcher. I've said that. I'm learning. I'm still 101 in college, right? I'm in class for college, right? But when you do your research on Matt was a god up here, bro. He was a god. You go to Tampa. When I travel, this is before Facebook. This was before Instagram. This is before anything. When I went places, listen, when you go to the old Dallas Stadium, Tidy, and the gentleman, when you went to the old Dallas Stadium, when you get off to the parking lot, there's 1,000 Mexicans you got to walk through to get to the stadium.
Wow.
It's a different culture, bro. When you got that Deuce Mob jersey on, it's different. They knew they was going to get a game. They knew they was going to get a game. If anybody, listen, I'm Latino. When you talk about a player like that, you talking about a Messi. You talking about a Ronaldo for the city. You see what I'm saying? You talking about a player on that caliber level, bro.
Hey, I agree.
And when they say, "Yo, Wolf, why you be tripping like that?" It's because I don't walk like. In the Latino cultures, there's nothing bigger than soccer.
Right.
Nothing. Look, Tidy, do the research, right? And gentlemen, I want you people to do the research. If the 28-3 game was a soccer game, Kyle Shanahan would have been murdered.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Like the World Cup.
Those soccer games get for real. Get for real.
That's my father. That's where we come from. That culture. I wasn't forced to play football. I played football and fell in love with football as earlier. But soccer, when you go into the soccer culture, we look at things differently, bro. Kyle Shanahan, Dan Quinn, they would have been kidnapped. Thomas Dimitrov would have been kidnapped for ransom that night. That night.
What was
You
that?
see what I'm saying? So when you got a guy like that, bro, the 28-3 shit don't even faze me because when you look at those teams, the Patriots were supposed to win that game anyway.
That's to a lot of people. To a lot of people, they would. I got one more question to ask you. Let me jump in the super chat right here, right quick. Coach is back in the house. I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says,
shout out to Coach.
He says people outside of Atlanta would have loved to have Matt, DC. Thank you all for listening. I got my thing. Hold on, sorry about that. He said, people outside Atlanta would have loved to have Matt. DC loved him, as well as Maryland. Only our fans were critical of him. His BC days had everyone on him. So, hey, he's absolutely right. Thank you again, Coach. I appreciate you, brother. And Winston is in Virginia, and he's up here in Virginia. We loved him because we realized even though he wasn't the best, we could have doing a lot worse. Matt was appreciated. JJ says, my Washington fan dad told me he would have killed to have Matt Ryan. Wolf, give me off the rip your favorite Matt Ryan moment. Not so much the team, Matt Ryan moment.
To be honest with you, it's hard to pinpoint that down. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard to point that down just because, like, I don't know. See, I don't know how other people. I don't know how other people look at players. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like me. You talk about somebody who even when I'm going through stuff in life, you watch the game on Sunday and you get a pickup. You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
like
right.
I don't know how other people look at it. But for me, for 13 years, when he put on that jersey, for me, I'm like, we got a shot.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I can tell people, like, yo, bro, like I'm a Vic baby, but Matt, I was popping bottles with Matt. See, Vic, I never celebrated nothing too much with Vic. I celebrated a lot more with Matt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I can't really say if I got a favorite moment. I tell you what, though, you ain't never. It's gonna be hard for you to get somebody like that in that building. It's gonna be hard for you to get somebody like that in that building to go in each year in and out. It's hard because like you and Tidy, y'all shoot content. It's hard to shoot content all the time. It's hard. Right. But y'all keep doing it. Y'all consistent. Y'all keep doing it. But something happened in life, like me. Something happened in my life, and I had to take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Because we dealing with real life too. You know what I'm saying? Right. And Matt probably dealt with some real life shit too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I love that boy. I love him to death. And can't nobody around me say nothing bad about Matt. If you do, I'm on you. Like white on rice in a paper plate in a snowstorm. I'm on you. So
it's a lot of white.
You know, salute to everybody. I just wanted to pop in and show you love, man.
Man. Listen, Wolf. Before you break out, man, tell everybody where you are. And I love to pop in. I saw you pop in a couple of seconds ago. Keenan, I see you, brother. He say I'm from Philly. He was respected here. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Keenan, for telling. Wolf, tell everybody where you at.
Hey,
and tell us when we gonna get one of them historical live videos again, brother. I know life happens.
Yeah, I got some stuff in the works.
Too long, man.
Yeah, I got some stuff in the works, I'm definitely gonna reach out to Tidy. I'm definitely gonna reach out to you. I got Berto I reached out to Berto. I reached out to Smitty. I'm getting some so I can really sit down and talk about some real life stuff because I think that the subscribers are interested in our story, in our path, how we got to where we are as far as content creators. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able not to talk about the Falcons per se all the time, but just to hear your gentleman's story So I'm definitely getting back to work. But I want to tell everybody this, man. If anybody's out there fighting cancer or any stuff like that, man, your prayers go out. I'm traveling right now. I got some issues right now with Pop Dukes, but listen, man, hang in there, stay strong. Prayers to everybody that's going through something, whether it's mental, physical, whatever. Man, listen, man, you got to remember, just stay strong. Keep praying, and everything gonna be all right the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So Wolf Solidified. You already know I'm on YouTube. I'm that crazy Latino that you invite over the house that I can bring something to the barbecue, but I don't have to bring nothing to the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody. Shout out to Tidy. Shout out to the gentleman right here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Subscribe to both these gentlemen. And if you have a page yourself, sir, subscribe to my man right here. Subscribe to everybody. Share, love, like, everything, man. And remember to get your life up, not your likes up.
I
You
love
know what
what
I'm
he
saying?
does that. I love what he does. First of all, back to you, Wolf. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for
Thanks, man.
joining us. Be safe in your travels, man. And I
Yes.
want
Yes.
to
Remember.
be on that show when you talk about life and
Yeah.
stuff like that, brother. I got the
Remember.
lot.
Always.
I see you. I see
Always.
you. Rise
Always,
up.
man.
Be safe, my friend.
All right, man. Thank you
Take
so
care.
Peace,
I
Wolf.
appreciate you, man. I'm gonna give you guys one last thing about Matt, because I know we've been on since about 7, and I'm gonna let y'all wrap it up. John, I'm gonna let you get your last word in, and then we're gonna switch to title here.
It's hard to encapsulate 14 years into an hour and a half. We attempted it, went pretty good, and we touched on some highlights, and we touched on some things. But as I said, for the 14 years that you wore the red and black, thank you for your service, Matt. Much success in what you do from now on. And ladies and gentlemen, when you become a sportscaster, you are no longer part of the Atlanta Falcons team. You got to call it the way you see it. So when he gets on CBS and says something that you might not like, oh, he a hater, he a traitor. No, that man is doing his job.
Right. And he called
Respect.
a couple of home games, so I didn't get a chance to hear. I know he was here for the Washington game, and did he do the Indy game? I don't know if he did.
No, he didn't.
He didn't do that game. Okay, so but I know he did the Washington game, the one they beat us in. So yeah, hopefully he stays neutral. John, also tell everybody where you're at, brother.
Well, I am a brother channel to this channel, and eye test.
Absolutely.
We scuffle along, and we try to give you the best content that we possibly can on Wednesday nights. And those of you who won't be tuning in to this show, we're going to piece together a little show Thursday along with you guys, and do a little draft commentary or whatever. I'll be moderating because the only draft I know is beer.
Oh boy.
But tune in, Winston and C-Dub and Red. We'll be clowning around and getting down on that other side there. And if you can, get 2 TVs and bust the knobs. Put one on us and one on these gentlemen here, because this will be their 5th or 6th inaugural 5th or 6th draft that they've done together. And I know they're going to do a good job, and we are going to try to catch the people that can't get y'all channel. The antenna might be broke, cable might be off. We are on the regular, so those of you, y'all come on in, and like I said, we wish you guys to have a real good show, and we'll be looking forward to seeing whatever it is that you guys bring as far as the draft or whatever, and we'll be tuning in too.
Absolutely. We always gonna share time with our brothers, and man, we appreciate you, Jay, and doing your thing. Toddy, last thoughts on Matt, and then let everybody know where you are, and then what we got going on again for the Folk Zone draft night on Thursday night.
Right on. Final thoughts about Matt Ryan. I'm gonna go back and kind of piggyback off something Lisa said when she talked about his press conference, and when he said the passion of the fan base. You know, we all knew what that meant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that lets us know that he keeps his ear to, the streets. You know, he knows what's going on. And something that really made me chuckle during that press conference is when he said, I'm signing a one-day contract, and then he followed that up and said, I finally signed a team-friendly deal.
I heard that.
That let me know that he know what the fans are saying about him and what they've always said about him. Like, you always take all the money, man. But
yes, sir.
I like the fact he could make light of situations like that. Again, that's just a great character trait on his part. But in 14 years, I want to give him credit and say, was he the fastest? No. Was he the most talented? No. Did he have the biggest arm? No. Did he more times than I like at times make crucial, critical mistakes? Yes, he did. But one thing I'll always give him his props and respect known is I never felt like he didn't leave it all on the field. Even in that Super Bowl, I felt like he left it all on the field. Like I said, he wasn't the most athletic. He was never the best of the best. But I never felt cheated after watching him play. There have been players on some of my other favorite teams, including the Falcons, that sometimes I watch a player like, you know what? You didn't give me your all today. And I never really felt like that watching number 2 play football. Right. Again, it was a hell of a ride, Matt Ryan. If you do happen to see this, I wish you the very best in the next chapter of your life. And as John Harris say, appreciate your service to the franchise. And myself and Uncle Steve, we will be on Uncle Steve's Lounge on Thursday. Steve, what time we start?
I was trying to think whether 7:30 or 7:45. Don't we usually do 7:45?
What time does the draft start?
I think it's 8:00.
Yeah, I think we normally do about 7:45. I think that's a pretty good time. You want to do 7:45?
Let's do 7:45.
All right, so myself and Steve, this is going to be like our 4th or 5th consecutive live stream,
bro. Because AJ Terrell was the second one, and we did. Didn't we do Chris Lindstrom? I'm trying to think. I know we did. AJ was the first or second. We did AJ. We did Kyle. We did. You know what? Maybe this is 5. Maybe AJ was first.
I think this is probably number 5. I think this will be the 5th year.
This will be the 5th one. Okay. This is the 5th
year. Yeah.
Okay.
So, as y'all see, we done did quite a few.
Bring your drinks.
Right. Bring your drinks. Bring your refreshments. And like Steve said, we always do like a toast on whoever's going to be their first pick. So make sure to join us, man. We'll start at 7:45. It'll be right here on Uncle Steve's Lounge on his YouTube channel, and we always have a great time. So I'm looking forward to it once again. And you can find me at Atlanta Bird Game.
Absolutely. And Toddy, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you and Jay. And I wanted to piggyback off what you were talking about during that press conference. Lisa just put something in the chat, and it's important to me because marriage and knowing how much my wife said something to me today that about the stuff I was doing on YouTube and was proud of me and some of the things I was doing and the way I was doing it. And Lisa says Matt was about to lose it when he was talking about Sarah. She said after the Super Bowl, he watched the Super Bowl replay 3 days straight. She said at first she let him go through it. And having that wife there, man, I can understand how he felt to have that person go through all of that. And people forget, gentlemen, y'all remember 2017, man, that was one of the twins were in distress. That was a distress pregnancy for Sarah Ryan. And a lot of people forget that aspect of that particular year, man. Matt was not only coming off the Super Bowl, but Sarah was life or death when they were talking about going through her pregnancy. So that's probably a lot of the reason why he had those emotions. But thank you, Matt. We appreciate you, brother. You did your thing. I have many moments, but I'm telling y'all, man, dude, when I saw brother step up during those critical times in this city and in this country, especially during that George Floyd stuff and all the things that were going on in the nation at that time, he didn't have to do what he did. And a lot of folks, especially in the city, you didn't see a lot of entertainers, you didn't see a lot of things, but he put his money where his mouth was. And for those who continuously talk about, you know, the Mike Vick experience and whatever. And Mike is a great guy now, great guy. But he stood for this city. That man missed 3 games in 14 seasons. He missed 3. Quarterbacks don't do that. Brady didn't do that. So I give him a lot of credit for being a stand-up guy and being probably, folks, right now, I gotta say the greatest Falcon, not because he was a great talent, not because he's the greatest arm, like Tidy said, and the greatest athlete, but he personifies what it is to be an Atlanta Falcon, and especially those who you follow him as a fan on here. Appreciate you, brothers. I know we've been on a while. I appreciate y'all hanging in there again. Y'all watch the eye test. Y'all make sure y'all check John and Winston out. And myself and Tidy will be here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. 7:45. We'll put something up there. We'll post something in the group in Atlanta Bird Gang. Y'all make sure y'all check us out. Join us on YouTube. We appreciate y'all, fellas. I appreciate both of y'all. Everybody have a great night and take care.